So, meine Liebe, it is 2 p.m. I've been doing research, blah, 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 blah. I've been informing myself, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like an old Warren Buffett that says, all I do from morning to evening is read the fucking news, see which trends are coming up, what is happening. And nowadays, the news isn't happening on the newspapers anymore. It's happening on X. It's happening on social media, and you just gotta connect the dots. And like, okay, who's a smart guy? Who knows what? Da 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 da. Which people actually have a deep understanding of the base that we're in? Which people should I listen to? Which should I not listen to? Which is like in a bubble rush right now? And which coins are the next coins to flourish? Next stocks to flourish, to, like, if you're going into memory now, yeah, okay, you still might do a 20-30% gain, but the money was made buying this in November or October, and now you're just profiting off the hype and hoping there's another idiot that, like, greater fool idea, like, oh, I guess there's going to be a greater fool who's going to buy from me. But how smart money should be doing it is being like, okay, we're in peak-ish territory, especially in this small mid-cap coins, like they're whoop, 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 whoop. I feel like BNGO 2021 times again. It's like, okay, this influencer talks about this coin, stays up there for a month or two, and then over a 5-year span of time, they just flush to nothingness. Now these companies my influencers are talking about actually have something behind them. They have orders coming, they have blah, 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 blah. And I don't have the in-depth analysis. I just wrote it down. My biggest positions right now are Samsung and SK Hynix. Both 2x leveraged ETF, or like 2x leveraged stock, whatever, it's structured product, whatever it's called. Then what has been printing for me is AVGO, so Broadcom, Bloom Energy, Amazon, and WE, which is like, they basically, WE, that's a ticker, I don't even know the company name anymore. But basically they do ETFs, and their longer term goal is to bring everything on a blockchain, and because they're like a lot smaller than BlackRock or Vanguard or these bigger companies, they're more flexible and therefore will profit more on the way up. Then these are like my 5-6 big long plays. Then I have SKM, which are long on Anthropic, Kioxia, Nitoboseki, which do like optic fibers. And yeah, and where I want to put my money in is rotated into the bull market that is coming for crypto. The bull market is coming, and it's gonna be fucking huge, like fucking huge. So which positions should I be buying? Hood. Robinhood is gonna explode, at least to levels last year, at least the 2x. Same with Circle, Hood, Circle. Same with Bitcoin, they easily should do a 2x here. I could even go in with 3x leverage, which I should. Quite honestly, I should. So these two companies, maybe Coinbase, maybe MicroStrategy, blah, 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 blah. But these two companies, Bitcoin, Solana without leverage, or like an easy 2x leverage, I can still double down later on. I've looked into a lot of coins, but one I want to get into deeper is Akash. That has easy potential for a 3x at this point. Altura, I put some money in like a couple of days ago, and I easily see them doing a 10x, and like if not a 20x, at least a 10x, which would be nice because they've been hit super hard and they've been bottoming out around, I forgot if it was 0.4 cents or 0.04 cents, but something with a 4, and I scooped up like a bunch, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, another big thing is Tron. Tron is more stable, but they're making $3.5 billion in revenue. 3.5 B with $1 billion. That's a shit ton lot of money. And they make more money than Ethereum, they make more money than Solana. They're like actually printing, they're in third world countries, they're basically doing what Cardano wanted to do, but what they couldn't do. And they go to third world countries and have these low transaction fees, and yeah, on their blockchain it's easier and faster to send this money around. This is why it works, I guess. And yeah, that's about it. So long story short, fuck money, get out there, find the woman of your dreams, tell her you love her, or make her chase you even better. We'll see how that goes. What else? We shall see. Make a shit ton load of money, be good at your job, become super successful, do more calls, more calls. My boss gave me a metric which I should be able to keep if I keep working on it, and then good things are coming. And I've set up some meetings and I'm doing okay. But it's not average I strive for. I strive for fucking greatness. And the issue right now for me personally is, I've got to speed it up a bit, is that the incentives are not aligned, because if I take care of my portfolio, it will reward me disproportionately than if I work for my job. Because here I have more leverage at the point I'm at right now, so that's why I put more time into here, but this can grow into like a multiple of what this even is. But maybe this can grow a multiple if I was already able to push my portfolio 60% this year. We'll see how it goes. I hope no one ever sees this video because I've not thrown this number out so far, I think, on any public record. Anyway, who gives a shit, right? Just reading my Bible here on a Wednesday lunchtime-ish. Josiah's religious reform, 2 Chronicles 34. 2 Chronicles 34:29. Josiah's religious reforms. Then the king summoned all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem, and the king went up to the temple of the Lord with all the people of Judah and Jerusalem, along with the priests and the Levites, all the people from the greatest to the least. There the king read to them the entire book of the covenant that had been found in the Lord's temple. The king took his place of authority beside the pillar and renewed the covenant in the Lord's presence. He pledged to obey the Lord by keeping all his commands, laws, and decrees with all his heart and soul. He promised to obey all the terms of the covenant that were written in the scroll, And he required everyone in Jerusalem and the people of Benjamin to make a similar pledge. The people of Jerusalem did so, renewing their covenant with God, the God of their ancestors. So Josiah removed all detestable items from the entire land of Israel and required everyone to worship the Lord their God. And throughout the rest of his lifetime, they did not turn away from the Lord, the God of their ancestors. 2 Chronicles 35. Then Josiah announced that the Passover of the Lord would be celebrated in Jerusalem, and so the Passover lamb was slaughtered on the 14th day of the first month. Josiah also assigned the priests to their duties and encouraged them in their works at the temple of the Lord. He issued this order to the Levites, who were to teach all Israel and who had been set apart to serve the Lord. Put the holy ark in the temple that was built by Solomon, son of David, the king of Israel. You no longer need to carry it back and forth on your shoulders. Now spend your time serving the Lord your God and his people Israel. Report for duty according to the family divisions of your ancestors, following the directions of King David of Israel and the directions of his son Solomon. Then stand in the sanctuary at the place appointed for your family division and help the families assigned to you as they bring their offerings to the temple. Slaughter the Passover lambs and purify yourselves, and prepare to help those who come. Follow all the directions that the Lord gave through Moses. Then Josiah provided 30,000 lambs and young goats for the people's Passover offerings, along with 3,000 cattle, all from the king's own flock and herds. The king's officials also made willing contributions to the people, priests and Levites. Hilkiah, Zechariah, and Jehiel, the administrators of God's temple, gave the priests 2,600 lambs and young goats, and 300 cattle as Passover offerings. The Levite leaders, Conaniah and his brother Shemaiah and Nathaniel, as well as Hashabiah, Jael, and Josabad, gave 5,000 lambs and young goats and 500 cattle to the Levites for their Passover offerings. When everything was ready for the Passover celebration, the priests and the Levites took their places, organized by their divisions as the king had commanded. The Levites then slaughtered the Passover lambs and presented the blood to the priests, who sprinkled the blood on the altar, while the Levites prepared the animals. They divided the burnt offerings among the people to their family groups. Also they could offer them to the Lord as prescribed in the book of Moses. They did the same with the cattle. Then they roasted the Passover lambs as prescribed, and they boiled the holy offerings in pots, kettles, pans, and brought them out quickly so the people could eat them. Afterwards, the Levites prepared Passover offerings for themselves and for the priests, the descendants of Aaron, because the priests had been busy from morning till night offering the burnt offerings and fat portions. The Levites took responsibility for all these preparations. The musicians, descendants of Asaph, were in their assigned places, following the commands that have been given by David. Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun, the king's seer. The gatekeeper guarded the gates and did not need to leave their posts of duty, for their Passover offerings were prepared for them by their fellow Levites. The entire ceremony for David's Passover was completed that day. All the burnt offerings were sacrificed on the altar of the Lord, as King Josiah had commanded. All the Israelites present in Jerusalem celebrated Passover and the festival of unleavened bread for 7 days. Never since the time of the prophet Samuel had there been such a Passover. None of the kings of Israel had ever kept a Passover as Josiah did. involving all the priests and Levites, all the people of Jerusalem, and people from all over Judah and Israel. This Passover was celebrated in the 18th year of Josiah's reign. Josiah dies in battle. After Josiah had finished restoring the temple, King Necho of Egypt led his army up from Egypt to do battle at Carchemish on the Euphrates River, and Josiah and his army marched out to fight him. But King Necho sent messengers to Josiah with this message: "What do you want with me, King of Judah? I have no quarrel with you today. I'm on my way to fight another army, and God has told me to hurry. Do not interfere with God, who is with me, or he will destroy you." But Josiah refused to listen to Necho, to whom God had indeed spoken, and he would not turn back. Instead, he disguised himself to lead his army into battle on the plain of Megiddo. But the enemy archers hit King Josiah with their arrows and wounded him. He cried out to his men, "Take me from the battle, for I am badly wounded." So they lifted Josiah out of his chariot and placed him in another chariot. Then they brought him back to Jerusalem, where he died. He was buried there in the royal cemetery, and all Judah and Jerusalem mourned for him. The prophet Jeremiah composed funeral songs for Josiah, and to this day choirs still sing these sad songs about his death. These songs of sorrow have become a tradition and are recorded in the Book of Laments. The rest of the events of Josiah's reign and his acts of devotion, carried out according to what was written in the law of the Lord from beginning to end, are recorded in the book of the king of Israel and Judah. 2 Chronicles 36. Jehoahaz rules in Judah. Then the people of the land took Josiah's son Jehoahaz and made him the next king of Jerusalem. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. Then he was deposed by the king of Egypt, who demanded that Judah pay 7,500 pounds of silver and 75 pounds of gold as tribute. Jehoiakim rules in Judah. Jehoiakim rules in Judah. The king of Egypt then installed Eliakim, the brother of Jehoahaz, as the next king of Judah and Jerusalem, and he changed Eliakim's name to Jehoiakim. Then Necho took Jehoahaz to Egypt as a prisoner. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. He did what was evil in the sight of the Lord his God. Then King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came to Jerusalem and captured it, and he bound Jehoiakim in bronze chains and led him away to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar also took some of the treasures of the temple of the Lord, and he placed them in his palace in Babylon. The rest of the events in Jehoiakim's reign, including all the evil things he did, and everything found against him, are recorded in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. Then his son Jehoiakim became the next king. Jehoiakim rules in Judah. Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months and 10 days. Jehoiakim did what was evil in the Lord's sight. In the spring of the year, King Nebuchadnezzar took Jehoiakim to Babylon. Many treasures from the temple of the Lord were also taken to Babylon at that time. And Nebuchadnezzar installed Jehoiakim's uncle, Zedekiah, as the next king in Judah and Jerusalem. Zedekiah rules in Judah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. But Zedekiah did what was evil in the Lord's sight, in the sight of the Lord his God. And he refused to humble himself when the prophet Jeremiah bespoke to him directly from the Lord. He also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, even though he had taken an oath of loyalty in God's name. Zedekiah was a hard and stubborn man, refusing to turn to the Lord, the God of Israel. Likewise, all the leaders of the priests and the people became more and more unfaithful. They followed all the pagan practices of the surrounding nations, desecrating the temple of the Lord that had been consecrated in Jerusalem. The Lord, the God of their ancestors, repeatedly sent his prophets to warn them, for he had compassion on his people in his temple. But the people mocked these messengers of God and despised their words. They scoffed at the prophets until the Lord's anger could no longer be restrained, and nothing could be done. The fall of Jerusalem. So the Lord brought the king of Babylon against them. The Babylonians killed Judah's young men, even chasing after them into the temple. They had no pity on the people, killing both young men and young women, the old and the infirm. God handed them all over to Nebuchadnezzar. The king took home to Babylon all the articles, large and small, used in the temple of God, and the treasures from both the Lord's temple and from the palace of the king and his officials. Then his army burned the temple of God, tore down the walls of Jerusalem, burned all the palaces, and completely destroyed everything of value. The few who survived were taken into exile to Babylon, and they became servants to the king and his sons until the kingdom of Persia came to power. So the message of the Lord spoke through Jeremiah was fulfilled. The land finally enjoyed its Sabbath rest, lying desolate until the 70th year were fulfilled, just as the prophet had said. Cyrus allows the exiles to return. In the first year of King Cyrus of Persia, the Lord fulfilled the prophecy he had given through Jeremiah. He stirred the heart of Cyrus to put this proclamation in writing and to send it throughout his kingdom. This is what the King Cyrus of Persia says. The Lord, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdoms of this earth. He has appointed me to build him a temple at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Any of you who are his people may go there for this task, and may the Lord your God be with you. And here a new book starts, the book of Ezra. I'm now at page 342. And as I said last time, it is just a non-negotiable for me to read the Bible every morning and every evening, and I cannot live my day, or I could not skip it a day. It would be weird. Which is good that I'm reading the Bible and I'm learning. And I actually do like the stories. The beginning is super tough, so I really recommend everyone to start with the New Testament if they're actually into it, but it takes time. Ezra. The book of Ezra. 1. Cyrus allows the exiles to return. In the first year of King Cyrus of Persia, the Lord fulfilled the prophecy he had given through Jeremiah. He stirred the heart of Cyrus and told his proclamation in writing to send it throughout his kingdom. This is what the Lord, Cyrus of Persia, says. The Lord, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdom of this earth. He has appointed me to build him a temple at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Any of you who are his people may go to Jerusalem in Judah to build this temple of the Lord, the God of Israel, who lives in Jerusalem. And may your God be with you, wherever this Jewish remnant is found. Let their neighbors contribute towards their expenses by giving them silver and gold supplies for the journey and livestock, as well as a voluntary offering for the temple of God in Jerusalem. Then God stirred up the hearts of the priests and Levites and all the leaders of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin to go to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple of the Lord. And all their neighbors assisted by giving them articles, and livestock. They gave them many valuable gifts in addition to the voluntary offerings. King Cyrus himself brought out the articles that King Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the Lord's temple in Jerusalem, and he had placed in the temple of his own gods. Cyrus directed Mithredath, the treasurer of Persia, to count these items and present them to Sheshbazzar, the leader of the exiles, returning to Judah. This is a list of the items that were returned: 30 gold basins, 1,000 silver basins, 29 silver and incense burners, 30 gold bowls, 410 silver bowls, and 1,000 other items. In all, there were 5,400 articles of gold and silver. Sheshbazzar brought all these along when the exiles went from Babylon to Jerusalem. 2. Exiles who returned to Zerubbabel. Here's the list of the Jewish exiles of the provinces who returned from their captivity. King Nebuchadnezzar had deported them to Babylon, but now they returned to Jerusalem and in other towns in Judah where they originally lived. Their leaders were Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Seraiah, Reliah, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispar, Bigvai, Rehum, and Baana. This is the number of men of Israel who returned from exile: 2,172 from the family of Parosh, 372 of the family of Shephatiah, 775 the family of Ahab, 2,812 from the family of Pahath Moab, descendants of Jeshua and Joab, 1,254 from the family of Elam, 945 from the family of Zattu, 760 from the family of Sakai, 642 from the family of Bani, 623 of the family of Belai, 1,222 of the family of Asgad, 666 of the family of Adonikam, 2,056 of the family of Bigvai, 454 of the family of Aden, 98 of the family of Atter, descendants of Hezekiah, 323 of the family of Bezai, 112 from the family of Jorah, 223 of the family of Hashum, 95 of the family of Gibah, 123 of the family of Bethlehem, from the people of Bethlehem, 56 of the people of Netophah, 128 of the people of Anatoth, 42 of the people of Beth Atzmareth, 743 of the people of Kiriath Jearim, Kiriath and Beeroth, 621 of the people of Ramah and Geba, 122 of the people of Michmash, 223 of the people of Bethel and Ai, 52 of the citizens of Rebu, 156 of the citizens of Makbish, 1,254 of the citizens of West Elam, 320 of the citizens of Harim, 725 of the citizens of Lod, Hadid and Ono, 345 of the citizens of Jericho, and 3,630 citizens of Sena. These are the priests who returned from exile. The family of Jedaiah, 973 throughout the line of Joshua. The family of Immer was 1,052. The family of Pashu was 1,247. And the family of Harim was 1,017. This was Bible study session of the 15th of April morning session. See you. Bye-bye.